Welcome back to Get With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
I saw Deadpool and Wolverine for the first time this weekend.
Dude, I haven't seen that yet. Can you believe that? So don't say a fucking word.
I'm not going to say anything. But
I heard it was good.
It was the best Marvel movie I have seen since Endgame. Now, that's not saying much.
Wow.
That's not saying much because every Marvel movie since Endgame has been absolute trash.
Okay.
However, without spoiling anything, because there are a lot of things in there that can, even if you know them, won't spoil the movie. But there are so many things in there. If you don't know them, you are going to freak out. And my favorite moment of the movie will guarantee be your favorite moment of any movie you have ever seen.
That's heavy, dude. There's a lot. I've had a lot of movies in my time.
Nope. This is it.
Okay.
This is it. This is your moment.
Okay.
This is a Bill moment where the smile on my face and the giddiness in my body watching this scene begin was the best. I'll tell you this. This won't spoil it at all. Okay. I am so comfortable telling you this, knowing full well it will not ruin it for expectation reasons, okay? This was like watching Captain America pick up Mjolnir in Endgame. All right? This was like
that's heavy.
The hammer coming off the ground.
Yeah.
It flying, hitting Thanos, and flying into the hand of Captain America. That is going to be this moment for you.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
Confident. I'm 100% confident.
Okay. Shit. I got to watch it now. Today. It's been on my list to do it. I just haven't done it.
And unfortunately, I'm on X way too much. And a couple of things popped up and I'm like, damn it. I wish I didn't know that. It was still great.
Yeah.
But I wish I didn't know that. Hey, anything that happened this weekend? Anything exciting?
Honestly, I just felt
you were in a black hole this weekend. What were you doing?
It wasn't that I was doing anything necessarily. I mean, just stuff at the gym, and getting ready for the holiday stuff at the gym and trying to clean things up and
Judy,
just doing that kind of stuff. But what was crazy was I really wanted to do the shows with everyone.
I know.
And I could not get myself to get up at 2:30 in the morning to do it. I just couldn't. I tried it one time. I tried. I set my alarm. I got up and I'm like, there's no effing way. There's no way. There's just no way, because I knew that if I did that,
yeah,
I would be with Sevon doing his show. If it was our thing, and it was our show, then I would have been like, okay, man, I'm in. I'll go the whole weekend with no sleep. Cool. But it wasn't. And I was like, I just can't. I can't get myself to do it. So I was in a black hole because I was playing catch up. So I'd get up at whatever time. And then I got 4 hours now to try to catch up. And it was catching up, not just on the competition, but then on you guys' shows and stuff. And the 280 text messages that I'd wake up to.
Dude, waking
up
all
of the things. It was nuts. So it wasn't, I couldn't keep up with where you guys were. So it wasn't I was black hole. I was there.
Yeah.
I was just I was on one of these right here, holding on to the coattails. I'm just kind of being dragged along the thing. So you guys did amazing. I don't know how
I haven't been on a show in a long time.
Sevon is a machine. So props. And same thing with Spin and John and everyone doing their
the Spin cast
dude. Those guys, same thing. I mean, at least they got a couple more hours because they're, closer that way. But still, there was so much stuff to watch that I couldn't catch up to get on track with you guys. I just couldn't do it.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm talking to my daughter right now.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're drawing a picture? Okay, well, eat your lunch, please. Sorry.
Eat your damn lunch.
Eat your lunch. Yeah, those guys waking up. Imagine waking that early to cover a sport you don't really want to cover,
Oh man,
which is what Spin did.
I know. But I mean,
Shout
like,
out to him though, man. That's even if it was our thing, I don't know if I would do that.
I mean, the on and again, this is not shorting what Sevon can do. Like, at least you know that dude's going to be making money on this stuff. Like, people are going to be dropping, donations in there. His stuff's going to get monetized. I mean, he has a great following with that kind of stuff.
Playing Vindicate's commercial for his backpack using Thunderstruck.
I don't know how that works.
No, why would you?
I don't know how that works. Seriously. Oh yeah.
They have to retroactively like mute the beginning of that.
Yeah.
Yet they kept playing it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it was cool.
I mean, it's a cool commercial.
No, it's a great commercial.
No, I love the song. This is probably going to be a strike.
I know.
I wanted to wake up early for one of those days, but I was celebrating. So I turned 42 on Friday.
You're an old man.
Yes, 42. So Friday was my birthday. That was great. Went to, let's see.
The hockey game.
Thursday night, went to a hockey game.
How was that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Stars won. Watching hockey in person and watching hockey on TV they're not the same thing.
No, I totally agree with that.
I can't really watch hockey on TV and stay as engaged. One, it's hard to follow. Everything is so fast and following the puck is challenging. But in person, and this is the first time we sat behind the goalie. I'll sit
right,
mid, mid,
to the middle,
the sweet spot, and it was awesome. It's a totally different experience. Just watching the shots that they take on these goalies and what the goalies can do with a reaction time faster than you can blink. Kind of.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Insane.
Like that's nuts. What blows me away, and it's crazy. I have wanted to get into hockey so many different times because it really is cool. Like the handling that those guys can do with the puck, it is unbelievable. Like, I mean, like basketball is cool and what like the really good guys can do and the way they can handle the ball, but like the puck is like that big. And it's not even their hand, dude. It's like a stick.
While you're like on skates and ice.
It's unreal. I mean, the abilities that those guys have, the skills that those guys have is unbelievable. And I don't know why I haven't been able to make it stick. I'm not really sure why. I've tried. But yeah, in person, I think when you're watching it in person, it's more like you're going to a gang fight than you're going to a sporting event because you know that they're gonna be fights, and no other sports they don't let you fight.
And it's
like going to like UFC, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you guys are standing, we'll stand back.
Constant physical contact.
Yeah.
Bumping into people, slapping them around, checking into the boards, that type of reaction, and maybe potentially a fight where that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
It was super fun. So we did that Friday night. No, we did that Thursday night. I was like, all right, I'm not waking up. Well, I don't think there was anything early on Friday.
No.
I made all the shows on Friday. Oh, the Friday night show is when I accidentally guessed what the event 6
Dude, I know that was great. First of all, I thought it was great, and I was more impressed, honestly, with the way that Katie answered it.
So here's the thing, because Savon made a guess joke. And then it went to Hiller and then JR and then me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just throw out the duel as a joke. And this is how I think it's like how well Katie handled it. I think the opposite.
Really?
Yes, because as soon as I asked that, and she went,
"Oh, you mean the legends?
You mean the legends?" I instantly knew that I guessed the workout.
Really?
Which is why I said, just kidding, and asked her a different question.
Right.
That was just the vibe and feeling I got.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't even know what Legends event you're talking about.
Well, that's what I thought. I took it as she just shoveled it off because no one. I mean, there wasn't as many known events for the Legends, so
Yeah.
that's why she was like, look confused, like, "What, are you talking like the Legends?"
Yeah, when she did that, I was like, "Ooh, I'm not in." I had no idea. I was just joking, and then when it came out, I think the next morning or
Yeah,
something, I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, sh."
I know you're all, oops.
Oopsie.
I mean, in all reality, I mean, I guess with
I mean, it's not like
how
it changed anything, but like Katie, I swear to God, I didn't know. If I knew, I wouldn't say it.
no, of
Right?
course, yeah,
That should
absolutely.
be that should be my only out is that if I actually knew what it was, I am not dumb enough to say
Right.
that on a podcast.
No, totally. But I think that it was, I mean, it was a totally fair question, especially after we had already seen so many things that had been repeated with back squats and bar muscle ups
Mm.
and the
Yeah.
log muscle. I mean, there were a lot of pieces that were repeated. So it seemed, well, of course they'll have that.
Yeah. But yeah, all right. So I didn't tell Bill. We're going to recap the Rogue Invitational. There's a lot of things that went down. I have written down 10 questions coming out of the Rogue Invitational, which will be talking points for the show that I have not shown Bill, and I will present to him one by one, and we'll go through that. That was the surprise that I made for you. I
Surprise.
feel like they're good questions.
Okay.
They'll be our talking points. So there's 10 questions. If we get a little close to maybe a later question, I'll be like, all right, I got one. I got that later. Let's
Okay.
I'll try to keep it on the rails a bit.
All right.
But before we get that, happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Happy Veterans Day.
Do you know what I just realized?
Huh.
Obviously, I'm not keeping track of the number. When yesterday they said it was the 249th birthday of the Marine
Of the
Corps.
Marines, yeah.
I was like, 249th? Oh, the Marine Corps was made to fight the British when we established basically our independence.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, the United States is going to be 250 years old next year?
Yep.
How awesome is that?
Yep. There were a lot of things that that Trump was talking about the 250, not
Or
necessarily
will it be in
but
2
like,
years?
but a couple
2
years
years?
ago, he
'Cause
was talking to,
76, so
he was having some
2026.
plans. Yeah. He had some plans for
Yes.
2026.
Yeah, 2026. So I am super pumped
Isn't that
about
crazy?
it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Hold on, real quick. Did you do a workout for Veterans Day today?
I have not.
Were you gonna do any of them?
So I've done Chad once, and Chad effectively wrecked my back for 3 years after doing it. So I just don't do that workout anymore.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I guess I got part of my back issues is some like glute med issues as well. And if you do a bunch of step ups like that, just annihilates. It took 3 years for my body to stop hurting from Chad. So I don't do Chad.
Wow, dude. Wow.
What I have been doing is 1,000 cals on the C2 bike.
Okay. How long
Just
did
sit
that
on
take?
it. It takes way longer than Chad. That's for
Really?
sure. Yes. And then last year I did it with a 40-pound ruck because like, I should probably spice it up. I'm never doing that again. That was like, you think sitting on a bike sucks now for your undercarriage? You put a 45-pound ruck on your back and do it. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever done in fitness.
I could see that.
So I haven't yet. Have you?
I actually just got done with our first class. So we have 2 today. We have a 9 and a 5. So we usually do Chad on New Year's Eve. That's our New Year's Eve one.
Yeah.
The one that we do on Veterans Day, we do a hero workout, and one of my favorite is Holly Man, but we ramp it up so it's Holy Cow Man. Holly Cow Man.
Holly Man.
Yeah. So we
ramp
we
up Holly Man.
well, we double it. So we do 10 wall balls, 5 handstand push-ups, 2 cleans at 225.
Dude.
30 rounds. 45-minute cap.
Okay.
It's just, I mean, it's very the good, like, it sounds like it would be inappropriately programmed, but what it does is it really slows everybody down. So the intensity is not real high, and it's just, I mean, I'm just looking for something long. Kind of, it's kind of like Murphish, where you're long, you're just kind of cruising. It's almost like like you're sitting in that tier 2, just kind of level, just kind of cruising, you
Yeah.
know. We had a lot of people today that did it, and what did they get? We had some people that obviously they scaled. I mean, they're not hitting those numbers with the weight and stuff, but I think we had 15 people do it. We had 2 that finished their version. Had a bunch of people in like around 25,
Dang.
20 right in there. So yeah,
That's nasty.
yeah,
That's cool.
just fun,
That's
just
good.
something long.
One thing I'd like to share is, did you see what Born Primitive was doing?
With their money that they were raising.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, amazing.
$2.5 million to pay for veterans' medical bills. So they did that before. They're doing it again.
Yeah.
I think today might be the last day. So anything you buy on Born Primitive, 100% of those sales are going to fund that endeavor. And they've got 2 new shoes out. I mean, I'm not sponsored by Born Primitive. I bought one of their 4th of July edition shoes just because if there's an American flag on it, I typically buy it.
You like those red, white, and blue ones, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But I was like, I already have a pair that look like this. My wife will kill me. And, but did you see that box, like that limited edition box they made? First of all, did you see what they did to those D-Day shoes?
Dude, that was sick.
The D-Day package?
Yeah.
Dude, those things that they do are so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. So if you guys didn't see it, the
they actually
D-Day
had, I think, actual dirt from Normandy.
So you could buy this $200 package, I think, and it came in like an ammo can and the army green or military green shoes, and then it had a like sand vial from Omaha Beach.
Yeah.
And then in this one, it's a wooden chest made from the wood of the USS Constitution warship.
What?
That's what he said. From the wood. There's a flintlock pistol in it. And then the Constitution and then the Declaration of Independence and some other pamphlet. I can't remember what it was. Like basically the 3 most important like pieces of written documentation we have for the United States. And then both pairs of shoes. It's like $500.
Dude, they need to send that to Trump.
That's true.
Could you imagine that? Or send him to RFK.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
So cool. On the heels of that, or in conjunction with that, we work with Bubs Naturals, and they do this every year. But Bubs Naturals today, on Veterans Day, 100% of the proceeds will be donated to veterans charities today.
That's so awesome. Those guys
so don't use our code. Just buy it for its full price, because what you buy today on bubsnaturals.com, 100% of that goes to veterans and veteran charities. So Bubs Naturals, Born Primitive, you guys are awesome. What you guys do just on a daily basis, but they're always supporting our military and our veterans. And I mean, that's what we should be doing.
Agreed.
So do that. Get on there. Oh, what does it say today? 100% of proteins to veteran charities today, plus a free Halo Creamer tub on orders of $25 or more. So if you order 2 bags of coffee, you're going to get the Halo Creamer with that for free.
It's so good. The creamer is
and then all of that goes to a military charity or a veteran charity. So shout out to Bubs.
Way to go, guys.
Shout out. So go check them out. Go check them out. All right, Bill.
Sir.
The Rogue Invitational went down this weekend.
Oh, it did?
It did. I loved it. I had a great time watching it. I had a great time talking about it. It was really cool that I got to go on the Savan podcast this week, and I appreciate the invite to be able to partake. Usually I've been watching from home for whatever reason, not be able to make it, and just watching you talk the whole time. And I was like, man,
dude, it's so fun.
I want to do that. Yeah.
It's so free. That's why.
It is, and it's almost too free sometimes for me.
For you.
I got to realize that. I do have some party lines I need to toe from time to time. And so I made 10 questions to come out of the Rogue Invitational this year, of which we can round table for 3 to 5 minutes per.
Sure.
Yes? Can you draw? Yes, you can draw. Are you done eating your lunch? Are you wearing my necklace? Yes? Okay. Please don't break that. It's like this.
Hold on, real fast.
From
Barry, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, Barry's saying normal group members shouldn't do hero workouts, but he forgets that you can actually have coaches to help modify workouts for you. So,
dude, that's my
Barry's
job.
Barry's having a moment today. It's okay.
That's every single. Okay, real fast, and I'll get on my soapbox real fast. It's every single day, dude. I scale and modify for every single member that does the workout that day to make sure that they get their workout, not what's written. I write it, but I make sure they get their version of it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. But that's all right.
Sorry, continue. Question 1.
Barry's having a moment. Question number 1. I thought the move, yes.
That was
Did you see like the little hand?
totally a hand came in there. That was awesome.
What is this? What is this? You want to say it in the mic? Tell me what this is. What is this?
It's Apollo was being mean to me.
Oh, Apollo was being mean to her. All right, do you want to see it?
Yeah.
Apollo is a boy in her class. And that's an angry squarehead boy, and I guess that's how she thinks.
Dang.
Oh, Lord. God, she has the cutest little voice. I'm her dad. I'm biased.
No, totally. But like, it's time to being mean, huh? Jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Right.
Yeah, like a week. But I can't remember. This might have been 2 years ago where I was like, Rogue needs to go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
They're wasting their time, effort, and money in Austin, Texas. There are not enough people coming that should be coming to this event. It is, we've said before, the most premier event in the world, period.
Yeah, it's the most inclusive.
It's most, yeah.
Highest level of all time.
Right. So now they moved over there. From the outsider looking in, obviously I wasn't there, but I talked to a lot of people that were. Massive success as we thought it would be. Yep. And they're in Aberdeen, Scotland, which I don't know if you guys know, it's not the easiest place to get to. Yet, people showed up in droves. My first question to you is, should Rogue move the Invitational every year to a new country in Europe, year in and year out, or stay where they're at?
The nice thing about staying is you get kind of a lay of the land. And when that was one of the things that, like, especially when we see where the games have gone, like you see the first year and they kind of get it, and then they realize all the cool things that they could do as they kind of expand out. Now, granted, in Aberdeen, they were all within just the arena that was there. The fact that that's the case, and it's almost more of a, or they want, if they want to do it that way, I think it would be easy to bounce around to see some of these other areas, especially if all they need is a stadium type setup like that. So if that is their case, they know that they can. And I think the fact that they had so many people show up to Aberdeen the way that they did, I think that it would be an unbelievable success to bounce around to a handful of other places in Europe. So yeah, I think that they should move it around. Maybe not maybe it doesn't have to be every year, but I think they should definitely be way more mobile than what big events have been up to this point.
Yeah, I was talking about this. I think it was the very end of the Swan podcast. We were just recapping the weekend. And I think you're right. Staying in a certain place, you're like, oh, that would have been better if we did it this way. And it could just be logistical things. We show up here, we unload this way, this movement, we know where people should stay. And there's a lot of work you would have to put into every single year in a new venue. All right, where's the hotels? How much time in advance do we need to book these things?
Yeah.
What are the dates available? Because not every convention center, stadium, whatever is open in the time frame that you want to do.
Especially in crowded areas,
yeah,
like more popular areas. Yeah.
But without thinking maybe logistically, we just hypothetically, I'm with you, is to move this around. But if you can get ahead of it, like if your team can just negotiate these things, they do this in the Super Bowl at the time.
Right.
Hey, in 2025, this is the Super Bowl, 2026, 2027. In the Olympics, 12 years ahead.
Right.
Like LA got announced when they were in Tokyo?
Yep.
So I'm not saying that far in advance, but that's what you would probably need to do to get ahead and make sure you solidify a weekend and a location and start those plans. They're not shy of the work, clearly. Katie and Bill are always top notch when they're putting a competition together. They're there taking mats down with their, like what Katie and Bill do for that company and with their team is second to none. And the second place is a distance second. How they operate.
Right. No, I think that they could definitely do it.
If you want to get crazy crowds and crazy fans and crazy engagement, how cool it'd be is like when 2025 is done, they make the announcement for 2026. There, it's already set.
That would be.
And you keep that a secret for an entire year at Rogue, probably. At other places, probably not.
Right. No, I think I actually really like that when you're announcing your champions that you open up with saying what we're going to be next year.
People will stick around for the podium ceremony.
They would.
All right, podium ceremony. Now here's a video, right? The video they did for Scotland this time that Katie was doing the voiceover. Yeah. 2026 location of the Rogue Invitational, Paris, France. Paris is done. 27, Madrid, Spain. Berlin, Germany. I'm just naming cities I know. Okay. But how I feel like that would be a cool move for them and to get a new crowd too, because when you move to like France will come to the Rogue Invitational and then Germany will come. Like the local crowds, which are massive in Europe, we've been there before.
Yeah.
Like you've been to Madrid for an invitational, haven't you?
Yeah, this is massive.
I've only heard of what I mean. I've been in Madrid for an open announcement.
I was actually there twice. I did there for the regionals and then for the invitational also, and it was insane. Well, and I think that's a really unique piece about it is you get that new blood every single time. So when you look at like Tier Wadapalooza, people go and like, oh, okay, I've gone. I kind of checked the box already. But now you give everyone the opportunity to check the box to go to Rogue. Yeah. And I mean, new blood. I mean, it's new money, coming in, new fans are going to be able to watch and go to the vendor village. And I think that they could really do a lot of good things with that. And not only every one of the events has kind of their little thing. I mean, obviously like pairing it with the strongman and the Bitcoin, thing has been kind of their deal, but their thing could be that it's the biggest, most inclusive, most exclusive competition in CrossFit, the CrossFit arena anywhere, and it constantly moves, and people will chase it as it goes. I think that's amazing. That'd be fun. I like it.
Let's see, Lance. How does the cost of travel and hassle of travel impact that? Rogue pays for the athletes' travel.
Yeah.
They pay for their travel. They pay for their flights. They don't spend anything to go to Rogue, which is easy to do with 20 or 40 total.
Yeah.
With strong men and strong women. But that's another unique thing that Rogue does. Right. So, all right. That was question number 1. Question number 2. Can changing to P-score increase the excitement and competitiveness of the sport? So this isn't exactly isolated to Rogue, but I think it was highlighted at Rogue of the massive pro that P-score comes with. Because Tia won 4 events in a row to start the weekend off and was ahead by 60 to 70 points on Gabby Magawa and then even more to Laura Horvath.
Yep.
And then Laura Horvath goes and wins 4 events and wasn't even within 45 or 50 points after that. Because every time Laura got first, Tia was getting second.
Yep.
Save for one event, which was the Duel, which I barely even count. Now, on the events that say Laura did really well in P-score, right? If Laura beats Tia by 4 minutes in an event, in the scoring system that they were using, which I like their scoring system better than other scoring systems, 5 per drop, whatever, fine.
Right.
It's still 5 points. That helps Laura 0.
Yeah, it's in that scenario, it's only 5 points.
Only 5 points. If she beats Tia by 4 minutes in P-score, she might get 40 points, which is indicative of her dominance in that event over Tia.
Okay, all right. So this was
other people being in the middle.
Okay. Now,
I just want to because I think you have a good. I think you have a good both sides of the fence for P-score.
So, on the top side of it, I really do like that it forces people to be more competitive, because if you are going to have like, let's say that the wall walk complex went to a deficit,
right?
That would have smashed Laura, right?
Right.
So to hedge against having a very big deficit, you could, like on the climate events, whatever she did, where she was way out in front, a minute ahead, where she would get a lot of score with that. The hard thing that I see with this, and I didn't really realize it until I was out with Tyler out at Crash, was the opposite end of that. And what happens is, if you have athletes that aren't finishing,
right,
then all of a sudden, like, you can technically get negative scores.
There were a lot of this weekend.
Right. And that's what I mean. And so I think I would have, before I saw the event, would have been like, yes, because these athletes are so good that you need to have more, you need to make their scores count a little bit more. It can't just be, I smashed the field and I got 5 points.
Right.
And like, I smashed you, I should be able to showcase that smash.
Or you're so bad.
Right.
And I got 12.
Right. I mean, maybe not in a field of athletes that aren't as good, because you are going to have such drastic drops like that. I mean, you're going to have people that just have holes that are larger than this level of athlete. But I think that after seeing like what Tyler was showing me, to have someone have a possible, I mean, even at Crash, there were people that if he didn't modify it, they would have had negative 80 points on an event.
Yeah.
And that all of a sudden it's like, well, now you're completely out of the show. Right. So they had to sort of modify. He had to go down to, if you were going to go below negative, it was just like, now you're by placing -1, -2, -3, and -4 as you went down that way. I would be really interested to see it with these level of athletes, because I don't think that the negatives will be as, or should be as large. So yeah. I like it. I like it in this event, because it's so intimate. You don't have that many athletes. Right. So the less athletes you have, the less separation you're going to get on those points. So I would really be interested to see, and I'm sure Tyler has it.
Oh, I would love to see I'm sure. Usually it's like the first thing he does is send 10 minutes after the event's over, and he's like, this is who should have won.
So I think for Rogue, yes. I think for other events, I'm still not sold on it for other events yet. Just because there are too many holes.
Kenneth the Lap, good people, take a sec, like and subscribe.
Thank you, sir.
For free. Yeah.
We got all the boys in here too. I've seen JR, I've seen Sevon, I see Sousa's in here.
Yeah. You know what has been fun is that we've lost a good 20 to 30 subscribers since we talked about the election. So I love that. Okay. Yeah, it's totally okay. I don't care.
Are they 4B? Maybe 4B.
I don't know. Someone said I'm out in the comments. I'm like, see ya.
Bye.
See ya.
And bye. That's okay.
So yeah,
everyone's got their opinion. That's cool.
Yeah, everybody's got their opinion.
You're allowed.
You are allowed.
We don't hate you. I don't hate you for that.
Yourself. I'm okay with it. I support you.
That's right. Well, that's why this country's so great.
That's why this country is so great. That's why the First Amendment is so important.
Yep.
What I really liked at Crash when they were using P-score is that you had Tyler there on site, and he was like, oh, yes.
No, it was great that he was able to showcase.
Well, he'd be like, hey,
things meant
they need to beat someone by, right? It wasn't exact, but it was enough not exact that we didn't know what was going to, like, we knew what the last day was going to happen. Laura would maybe get first and Tia was going to get second.
Yep.
That's it. You couldn't do anything. You needed more people. You didn't have them.
Right.
But when Tyler's like, hey, Laura needs to beat Tia by 45 seconds, and that could give her 20 to 23 points if she does that.
You see, in
That's awesome because now, okay, I have a vague idea of what she needs. We don't really know for sure, yet now we have enough information to be engaged on the possibilities of what could happen.
the wording before from like Sean, was it would be really hard to tell the story, and it's only hard to tell the story if you don't know what the scoring is. So, like, granted, when Tyler's looking at the numbers, he knows what the numbers are reading. He knows exactly what that means. He knows what a rep counts, how many, how much time is this worth, and if you have that information or you have someone like that, it's like no different than having a spotter out at the competition.
Right.
Same sort of thing. Feeds that in, and then all of a sudden, not just so and so needs 3, they need to get at least 3rd place. It's the same thing, but it actually sounds way more exact. He's got to beat so and so by 47 seconds.
Yep.
So now you're looking at the clock and you're
Yep.
watching the race. You're like, oh shoot, that was a no rep there. He's not going to make that time up. It does give a lot of color and context to the story.
Yes.
But again, you need to have that person who has that information there to give you that, because I think the general math counter that does score, like that we've all done, what's 2nd place, what's 5th place, how many places do you need in between, how many points is that worth?
Well,
we don't know that. We don't know those numbers.
Yeah, and Sean Woodland, like he's totally right, and it's like, hey, it's harder to tell a story, or you need these points to tell the story. And I'm like, yes, I like a P score. Hey, we need 47 seconds, but even then, that is still a maybe. It could be 52. It could be 42. I like enough context, because if I knew it was 47 seconds, as soon as 47 hit, I'm like, oh, it's over. But if they got 49 and it's an if-ish,
yeah,
then I'm sitting there waiting for the scores to be tabulated.
Yep.
Right? There's nothing worse than be like, oh, that was it. One more heat to go. Well, all right. I like a little vagueness when it comes to that, because when you don't know everything, the story is more fun.
It keeps you guessing.
I hope more events look at the potential of P-score here, and that it continues to be refined. I mean, it's pretty much, there's only one way to do it, but in a sense of how to track it, how to real time it, how to get those results quick. The results come in really fast.
Yeah.
It's just a program.
Totally. Yeah, it's just a spreadsheet.
I would like to. All right, number 3. Do we like the duel format as a staple event?
As a staple event, no. Okay. Do I like the format? Sure. Do I think it needs to happen in every single competition? No. I think the fact that Rogue had 6 of them. Okay, man, you played it out.
6 of them.
Or how many? Wasn't it the
this
duel?
This is number 4.
4. I meant. Yeah. I was looking at the
V1, 1B.
1B. Yeah. I think that if you feel, or if you get stuck in a rut where you're doing the same type of thing, then it's like all of a sudden you start looking at it as the old school open, where you know exactly what the open is going to look like.
Okay.
It's going to be lightweight stuff. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Like, you don't need to have, I don't think you need to have that. Just because it's cool doesn't mean that you need to do it every single time.
Okay.
And I'm also not a fan of doing the duel, having everyone race, and then you have the people that are like up at the top where they all of a sudden have to do it a head-to-head. I mean, like, the head-to-head is fine, but it's like they're now doing it again more than everybody else. Yeah, it's like, I mean, you have the race. They don't do a duel for the 100-meter dash.
No.
Like, everyone goes, they get out there, and they finish it. Okay. Especially on this event where that particular one, we lost 2 people that, it's like, dang it.
That might be a question later.
I'm sure it would be. So I think that I don't agree with staple events.
Okay.
I don't like being handcuffed.
I've gone back and forth on this one. I'm okay with it being a staple event.
Can't take as long in between.
They have to overhaul their format.
Dude,
They
totally.
have to. Now, I'll start with this. To their credit, the duel used to be the 20 men or women going in. They would take the top 5 and give them a first round bye. And then the first 15 would all compete against each other to move into the second round of 15 again, where 10 would advance and then the 5 that got the bye would go on. So your top 5 got free points for doing 0 work in the event.
Right.
At the same time, it was often a disadvantage for those top 5 athletes in the next round because they're going against 10 athletes who already went through it and now have a better understanding of where they can save seconds or splash intensity here and there. So 2 massive negatives of the formatting. They changed that this year.
Agreed.
So bravo to Rogue and the team for having all 20 start. 2015, 10-5. I forgot about the 2 until the 2 happened. I was like, oh, I forgot it goes down to 2. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Format-wise, it has to change. To watch 30 seconds of action.
And wait for 15 minutes.
And then wait for...
It was so long. It was so long, dude.
It was so long. I talked to some people on site that like it wasn't as bad in person. It was really exciting and allowed us to come down. I'm like, cool. There's 3,000 of you in person. There's 30,000 of us watching live online, plus the hundreds of thousands that are going to watch afterwards. And I hated how long it took in between. Now, it takes long in between for various reasons. They want to give them rest between each round, which I'll bring up in a second. Or maybe there's an appeal, so they have to go back and look, and they want to make sure they get it right, which I always want them to do.
Right.
But the simplest fix that they can do, Katie talked about constructive criticism. This is just constructive feedback, is run 4 heats of the men and then run the next 4 heats of the women. And while the women are going, you can take the 10 minutes that you have been taking and make sure you get it right. They get some rest and we have action for the fans, because putting on an event isn't just for the athletes. An event won't be an event if nobody likes what they're watching. When it's going, the dual format is sweet. I love the head-to-head. I love the one misstep, everything's on the line, and then they're out. Because who knows what can happen. If Tia misses on a double under or a single under like she did the CrossFit Games in 2021 and takes a 34th place.
Yeah. That's right.
Changes the game. I enjoy that. I'm okay if it's a staple event, but it's so close to being great, and that's the simplest thing they can do. On the one end where we talked about getting rest, they want the athletes to recover. I don't think they should give the athletes that much time in between as they get less and less, because otherwise this is just a specialist event. Yes, sweetheart.
No, I totally agree with you on that.
Anymore? Okay. I
I 100% agree with you on that. It's like if you were counting the times that they're getting against the times earlier, I understand having to have full recovery, but everyone that's advancing is having the same amount of rest.
Right. And so, here's why I think that's important is that, I mean, like Danny didn't make it in the final this time because she received a 10-second penalty, but I think she would have at least been in the top 5 easily.
Right. Yeah.
And Guy. Right. It's a power output. Like the power output sprint workouts are only going to be good for the power output sprint athletes. And if you give them more and more rest, then you more and more secure their victory because you're taking a fitness conditioning element out of it. Whereas if you're getting less and less time, you make the dual power output test even more of a test of fitness, not all encompassing. I think there should be an element of fatigue. Hey, you made the top 5. Great. You're going in 2 minutes as the men take on. All right, great. Now you made the top 2. All right, your rest is only the 1 heat of men, and then you're going back. So like you should be starting that final fatigued.
Yeah.
Not fresh, because then it's like, all right, we know who's going to win. They're the biggest, strongest person here, and you're going to give them 10 minutes of rest each round. Of course they're going to win.
Yeah.
So that would be my only thing. I like the duel. We've had some programming things in the past that I think outside of injury, this one was probably the best one they've ever done.
Well, I did. I mean, again, it's very exciting. I obviously there are some ways to improve the viewership of it. I was just saying that, like, okay, man, we got it. It would be like if we had like the sprint clean ladders and stuff. Like, cool, those are awesome, but we don't need one every single time.
Right.
So as far as calling it a staple, I would say I would venture to say no on the staple. That doesn't mean I don't like it.
Yeah.
I do think that this one I do actually like what this one was
Yes.
versus some of the other ones.
Right.
Even though there were issues, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but like even though there were issues, I really did like the event itself, like the elements of the event.
Okay.
So
All right. So this rolls into my next question for question 4.
Yeah.
I'm cool with a staple event, like a marquee event. When you come to Rogue, you get the Duel. Who knows what it's going to be? I'm okay with that. What we noticed in the programming is question number 4 is, what do you think about the repetitive themes and objects in the programming? Example, event 1 for the last 3 years
Sandbag.
has been a running sandbag event. They've had a heavy back squat event 3 consecutive years in a row in a couplet format.
Mm-hmm.
They've had the Duel. They've had the log
Muscle
bar for bar muscle ups. This is the 3rd year that it's been in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like seeing some of those same things repeat, even outside of, say, this similar Duel format?
Taking out the idea of the formatting, when I'm looking at events,
Yeah, so this one is like themes and objects.
right? I think that they need to make sure they need to be more creative. I think the fact that they had so many repeated elements.
From a combination standpoint or a movement object?
I'm gonna talk as a movement. Are you talking about, like, say,
All right, so for example,
like
heavy
repeating,
back
pounding,
squats.
pushing?
Yeah, no, I mean like heavy back squats 3 years in a row.
Okay, yes, I don't
Log
like
bar
that.
for the 3rd consecutive year.
Yes, I don't like
Running
that.
sandbag event for the
That's
3rd
what I'm talking about.
consecutive
That
year.
piece I don't like. I think that they need, and they should be able, I don't know why they can't, be more creative with those things. I mean, okay, granted, like, we're CrossFitters. We squat a lot. We pull from the ground a lot. I get it. But there are a lot of different ways to do that. It shouldn't be, oh, hey, guys, we're going to back squat, and then we're going to back squat, and then we're going to back squat. Oh, and yeah, we're going to, the log bar muscle up, and again, and again. The sandbag, the same thing. Like, those are cool, but just because they were cool once doesn't mean that we need to do, we'll change one piece of the workout, but it's basically the same thing. Like, I think that the creativity needs to be there. This is Rogue. They have access to any type of imaginary piece of equipment, like stuff that people have and what people don't have. I mean, shit, for the strongmen, they recreated the whole Conan grinding stone to, out of the movie. They can do anything that they want. So I think that they need to be very smart. Oh, what's up, Caroline?
Caroline. Okay, Caroline Prevo. Shout out.
Yeah,
Hello. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. She says they aren't getting the same amount of rest because you can go in back-to-back heats. True. I don't think everything needs to be under fatigue always. I do like the idea of having men, women back and forth. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I also like is that if you were in the last heat and you underperformed, then you're in the first heat. Like, that's just a performance-based thing. But yeah, I see that. Continue on. I just want to shout out to Caroline.
No, Caroline, cool. Yeah, I just have I don't like the idea that things are being that repetitive.
So I was on that same boat, but then I started thinking about certain things in other competitions that I do like.
Like what?
So, like if you go to Wadapalooza, what are you always going to do as an elite individual?
Swim.
Maybe the giant wood log is their thing.
Well,
hey,
hold on. Wait. Now,
okay.
I was saying that like, okay, I know that there is squatting and I know that there is pulling from the floor. It just doesn't mean that you're doing it the same way. Like, how many different ways are you going to be able to swim? They got to go long. They got to go repetitive. They have to do it where you it's either a piece or you go back and forth into the water. So the element of swimming is one thing. We're CrossFitters. We're going to be using barbells. We're going to be doing our gymnastics. We're going to be doing those things, but it's how you put those things together. This particular one was very specific. Sandbag running, very specific. I mean, a heavy back squat, almost exactly the same way in a couplet format. Same deal.
Okay.
The log bar muscle up. Cool that you have it, but it's like, okay, you already did it. Do another version. If you want to do it with something else. Do it where it's not a full bar. Maybe it's like two individual pieces sticking out, so it's something different. Change it up. Like I think that Rogue is different in their ability because they have the manufacturing ability to do whatever it is, whatever the hell they want to do. It's not a competition that's going to look at Rogue and go, hey, do you guys have something like this? They could just come up with it.
Right. It's like, hey, let's do this.
Like imagine bar muscle ups on partial bars where it was like the end of a like it's
my
something
saving grace on fatigue bar muscle ups is that there is a bar in front of me to land.
I realize that, but that's like, so if you're going to do bar muscle, it's like change it somehow, do something different with it.
Yeah, Soccer Mom says, what if they did different gymnastics movements on the log? Yes, you can do toes to bar, maybe a chest to bar. I don't have easy toes to bar. Well, if you do a bar muscle, you do toes to bar.
Totally.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there. It was like, I don't mind, like, hey, we're going to Rogue. What does that mean? There's probably a dual event, so I need to work on speed, execution. That log's going to be there for sure, so I need to get used to that. How come every time I'm in the middle of like a sentence, you walk up? I love it. Thank you so much for that picture. Is this mine? Where are you getting this paper? Are you drawing with Sharpies? Where are you drawing this on?
On the wall.
Hey, crayons only. Okay? Thank you. All right? Okay? Crayons only. Oh my God.
And we have 200 of you guys in here right now.
Whoa!
Hi guys.
Hey guys,
Hi,
subscribe.
guys.
We got to make up for the angry lose.
Right.
Okay. We're going to analyze the programming on Wednesday. So all you guys watching, we're going to analyze the programming on Wednesday. So we're not going to get too deep into the nuances of the programming. And then we're going to reprogram the Rogue Invitational on Friday. So we have 3 shows coming up. We're just talking shop today.
Yep.
I've got my 10 questions for Bill.
Yep.
I think it's okay to be like, we're going to Rogue. All right. We're probably going to squat heavy, do some stuff with sandbags. That log's going to be there, and maybe a dual format. Those things have been in there the last 4 years or 3 years. How they program those can change a lot of the ways I feel about those versus 3 couplets of heavy back squats, right? Mm-hmm. Is that kind of what you're saying? Is like, I'm okay if they're in there because that's what we expect from Rogue. I would just like the way that they're implemented in the competition.
No, what I would say, my expectations of Rogue would be, okay, it's going to be beefier on the weight. Not all super, super heavy. It's going to be beefy on the weight. Not that I'm expecting sandbags. I'm expecting back squats. I'm expecting log bar muscle ups. I'm expecting a dual. Like all of a sudden now it's like, okay, so you're going to take your 10 movements and you're just going to reshuffle exactly what we did last year with the 10 movements.
Okay.
I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be that. I think it should be like, oh, okay, it's going to be heavy grunt work. Because that's kind of what they do. It's heavy grunt work.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean that right there marks off these couple or these certain movements. It means that, you know, it's like if it was the open, we knew it was going to be light and burny, but we didn't know exactly what it was going to be light and burny with.
Yeah.
Regionals was going to be heavy, but we didn't know what was going to be heavy. We just knew it was going to be heavy. That's the way I see that. I don't. That's where I would go with that. Not as specific.
All right.
That makes sense.
Fair. Let me change that.
I mean, shit, dude, make them front squats, and all of a sudden, no one would even think, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
All right. Good combo. We'll finish programming talk tomorrow. Or sorry, Wednesday. Number 5. Shoot, we only have 30 minutes left. Okay.
No, we're fine. We're fine. I don't have a 12 because we're good. We can keep going.
Oh, nice. Okay. I don't either.
There you go.
Nice. Figured this question was coming. Should all rebounding movements be taken out of CrossFit competitions? I don't know if you still stick to your guns of don't tell me how to compete.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And if you say you're going to take out rebounding movements, it like as a sweep, then all of a sudden you don't have double unders anymore. I mean, technically you're not going to have running anymore.
Well,
Hey, hold on. I understand the reasoning. However, I think that there are ways to mitigate that by the programming.
Okay.
I don't think that an athlete should be told how to go. And that's not saying that it's being unsafe. If we do fight gone bad for that level of athlete, there is no way that the men especially aren't going to be bounding a 20-inch box. I mean, shit, I would bound a 20-inch box.
I did bound a 20-inch box on Fight Gun Bad, and especially when I did Kelly, which was 5 rounds of 40-meter run, 30 box jumps at 24 and 30 wall ball shots.
So, and that's, I mean, and that was in the old days, you know, where
I was also 26, 27.
well, I mean, I get it. I understand. But I think that if it's understanding what you're trying to test during that time. I think that, you know, with I don't really feel that the duel was tested the way that they wanted it to be tested. If you have an athlete that wants to win, they will find the shortest way or the most efficient way or the fastest way to get through it, because that's what athletes do. I don't think that any athlete is going through and thinking, okay, I know I can do this, but I might be risking an Achilles injury if I do. They're not thinking that. And if the program, if the event and the programming is not really worried about like, okay, do I want to see them? Do I want this to be a rebounding thing to see who can rebound, or do I want to see who has the capacity to have this jump?
Okay.
That's what I think needs to happen.
Okay.
So this event, you wouldn't have had any injuries. I mean, I did a workout yesterday where I was jumping onto 36-inch boxes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am not going to rebound that. So my hands would come down to the ground and I'd hop off of that.
Right.
No rebound, you know, or it was a jump, but it wasn't a rebound. And it was high enough to where that would be the only answer for that. The things that those guys were going over, the moving that, whether it was a burpee or you have a tape line where it was like, you get over the what are the things?
Like the bail or
the
whatever.
bail thing, whatever they call that. Get over the bail, get out to the other line. So there's almost like take a one-step jump to it. I mean, there are easy ways to fix it. It's like, but what are you trying to test?
Right.
And I think that's a matter of testing it with a high enough level athlete so that they can be like, how would you get through this as fast as possible? And go that way, or think about that so you can kind of retool it a little bit.
I'm with that.
But I to just pull it out completely, I just
I'm not saying we should never do box jumps again, but I really like what you said. And part of this was Adrian has said this before, or Boz has said this before, is like, I don't want rebounding to be the only way you win this workout.
Okay, then the way you fix that is you raise the height of the box.
Yes.
No one's going to be rebounding off of it. I mean, even a young buck's not going to be rebounding on a 34-inch box.
I've seen that. I mean, remember the deadlift boxing workout? We're all rebounding 30 inches.
I wasn't.
I can't remember if it was it was Alyssa says, why don't we do more box clear overs? Great.
I mean, same thing. I mean, so one of the things I did in my gym was
I don't think
I have a lot of wooden you know what? We do rebounding over a PVC pipe. Like plyometric. So we do a bit of that anyway. Obviously it's not that you start out right away doing it, but like if your athletes, if you know that they can do like bounding with double unders,
right,
then you know that they can do PVC pipe jumps because they're basically doing the same thing. I mean, they're not going up 24 inches and coming down. Their legs are just pulling up and down like this. So I think that, like, generally speaking, I don't think it would be good to pull it out. I think you just have to be really aware of one, what you're trying to test. What is the antithesis of that movement in that workout? Like, what are they racing?
Yeah.
And then can you mitigate it if you don't need it?
Hiller made a great point, and I've seen this come up a few times, is that back when rebounding was a thing, you never heard of any issues. Now rebounding no, this is totally false. Every year in the Open, when they would program box jump overs, slews of people would tell you the Achilles tears have been a problem on rebounding box jumps since the beginning.
And you know what's crazy is
I just didn't know about them because we didn't talk about them that much.
I am so shocked I haven't done it.
Same.
I mean, there was an Open event. I can't remember if it was like 2012 or 2013, maybe. I think it was I don't remember which one it was, but it was a ton of box jumps, and I was like, I somehow I knew I had to. I mean, I wanted to race, and so I'm like, I was rebounding, and I'm shocked to this day that, like, I haven't ever had an issue.
Every time I did it in training or in competition, that was all I would think about, because I would have no control. Because a lot of times it just happens, right? But like all these things, this specific injury to rebounding box jumps has been an issue for ever.
For a long time.
Just because you guys haven't heard about it. Right? I've heard about it since the Open began in 2011.
Yep.
It's been a thing every time. It is the most common like this movement causes this injury, like, than anyone. Like, oh, shoulders, knees. Yes, that's just part of but rebounding, like, it just happens.
Yeah.
And it's prevalent. Some people say it's like, oh, they're not training too much. I think all the athletes, I would say most athletes train that a lot. And maybe the issue is they do it too much.
Maybe.
Or it's a programming thing. But I think you're right, is that there's got to be a way to program that movement to where it doesn't make the only possible way you can not just win the event, but usually if it's like, if you don't do this, you are guaranteed a loss, and it has nothing to do with fitness.
Right.
There's a way to thread that needle. I don't think a wholesale elimination, but I think a much more focused lens of attention and detail to this is needed, and we're just not getting that right now.
What I liked was I think they went one step. They're like, okay, this thing's gonna be so high, no one's gonna be bouncing off of this thing.
Right, but then what happened? We're like, Danielle Brandon has figured this out. She's faster than everybody, and then everybody started doing it.
But what was that? It was because they and this is what I was talking about. Like, so the burpee did this basically. It basically made to where you couldn't keep your hands on the bag,
right?
Which stopped that. Now there was someone, I think it was I can't remember if it was Gazan or who it was, but there was someone that would come. They would hop on it, they would get off, and they would kind of double bounce and then get on. They would kind of
Danielle Brandon.
Was it?
At least that's what
Danielle had her hands on the bag.
Oh, like they took their hands off the bag?
She'd come over and bam, she would punch the ground. Her hands never came off the bag.
Yeah.
On either side. So I mean, I see that, but again, it's like, I mean, the joke between me and you is like, I'm the loophole guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's because I'm always looking like, all right, what does the rule say?
Right.
And then what are all the things I can do within that rule? And I think what's hard is when you're designing, when you're programming, your head's in it. And so you think you're checking the box on a couple things, but you really can't, you aren't looking for every possible thing that they might do.
Right.
You have to, especially when it comes to something like that.
You do, but even then, and this is where I give, I don't put this on Rogue at all. But like sometimes you program, like remember the dumbbell snatch ring dip and everybody's tearing their pecs?
Yeah.
Like who knew that was going to happen?
Right.
And then it did like rampantly.
Yeah.
Week in and week out. Because when they tested this, no one was going as hard as someone does at regionals when they're trying to make the CrossFit Games for the first time.
Right.
No one goes that hard. So maybe they tested the Duel. They could have tested the ever-living stuff out of the Duel.
Well, okay. All right, let's check this out. I just thought of this. Okay, no, watch. Okay, so who programmed the event?
Chris and Josh.
the two shortest CrossFitters next to Colton of all time within the CrossFit space. There is no way that those guys are going to be doing any
Right. I
rebounding,
doubt
anything
they
off
are
of
the
that.
ones testing these events to the maximum
Like,
capacity.
those will be totally
But
fine.
even if they got 5 people, it's like, all right, guys, we're going to practice. We're going to be real-time speed, and we're going to go as hard as they can. Like, you still don't operate at the intensity that these athletes
I
do.
agree. I
So-
agree. I agree. I think any sweeping generalization is an incorrect. I see that.
100%.
I see that as a knee jerk. I mean, shit.
Well,
CrossFit
that's
had
why the question is
CrossFit had
phrased
our
the way
first
it is,
death,
right?
and you know, at the
This is
game,
a
and then
mainstream
swimming with
media news headline.
Right. I agree. I just think that you just have to be very aware.
Mm.
You know, I watched the show with Sevon and Taylor, and Taylor had some really, really, really good point. You were on the show, I think, of that one too. When he was talking about the rebounding
Yeah.
and the programming of it, and the you know, that move into the into the sled, into, you know, getting Tozy on the pin,
Right.
the power pin. Like, I get it. That makes total sense, and that's a great point.
Yeah.
But that could have been mitigated if, like, you were really looking at, okay, what am I trying to race on this?
Yeah.
You know? So
All right. Fair. A quick, easy one. Horizontal pegboard, yay or nay?
I guess I was actually shocked at how bad people were on that. I mean, like, blown away shocked, you know? And that was one of the things where I was thinking, like, originally I would have wanted, like, the P score, but the pegboard itself would have buried people in the P score.
Right.
Buried them.
I loved it.
I mean, I thought it was cool for sure. I mean, I like the piece.
Watching someone who figured it out, like Laura figured it out one hole at a time. Brent Fikowski figured it out. Of course he did.
Yeah.
Tarzan style.
Yep.
3 or 4 holes a piece. And it was just nothing, where everyone else is just doing this thing and getting annihilated.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It worked out way better than I thought it was going to.
Dude, way better. I thought it was going to be I mean, honestly, and I thought it was going to be a joke.
Me too.
I'm like, really? That
I thought it was going to be. Remember when we thought they brought the killer cage back in 2022?
Yeah.
At the Rogue Invitational, but it was like 12 feet of monkey bars. We're like,
Yeah.
why is this even in here? You spent all this time building this for 5 seconds of nothing.
I know.
And then they brought the killer cage back again in 2023, like for real, and that was way better.
Hey, let me ask you this. What would you think if they were to do, instead of the pegboard, they did more of like in American Ninja Warrior, they have like those ledges.
Oh, rock ledges.
Yeah, so it's like you have the flat board, and then you have the ledge that goes across that, and so it's not a full grip. You're not gripping over it and kind of trying to shimmy that way.
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening was, it was a not being able, and I'm going to use Adrian's word that he uses 90,000 times a show, the execution of the peg in the hole, like that becomes the entire race.
I'm okay with that though. If you can't figure that out, I mean, I don't think that's the entire race. I think it's the entire race for you, because you just suck at it and you're not getting better. I don't think the people who place it in were just like superior because of anything other than they were just better at it. I mean, I get what you're saying, but we don't have that issue when it's vertical.
And it's honestly easier horizontal, because you're not having to sit like this.
Right.
You can hang. I mean, you just hang.
Yeah.
And
well,
like,
it was pegged CrossFit competitors as natural athletes.
Well, yeah, we heard, so we're talking about that last night a little bit. We have some of, and this is not a shot, and this by no means all of them.
Barkley.
But we have some very, very.
My kids asked about you the other day.
It might be. You never know. We have some of the fittest non-athletic athletes.
Yeah, but we knew that when we saw him throw a softball for the first time.
That's true.
I was like, oh, no wonder you're here. I
Because
get
you're
it.
not on the baseball team. You're not
Yep.
on the
Yeah.
softball team.
I get it. I liked it though.
I liked it. I was shocked.
I would love to see more iterations of pegboard things like we've seen. You know, they said like, okay, vertical to the side or some type of diagonal up and down.
Totally. I was thinking V's, upside down V's,
Yeah.
where you had to go up and come down. I
that'd
thought
be
that
great.
would be cool.
The evolution of the pegboard, I think, is cool.
Yeah.
Because now we're at a point is like pegboards are just a thing that they do now.
Well, you think. You would hope.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see when I know they did it in Egypt and it's happened in CrossFit competitions before, but like this is the first time it's really happened.
Sure.
Which Brent had done, and which is why he was better than everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
I liked it. I'd love to see more expanse in this. All right. 2
Same.
athlete questions for you. Is Guy a potential top 5 games athlete, or was it just the programming this weekend?
Just the programming.
Oh, hi.
He is very good at certain things and won't be able to compete with athletes on other things. And at the games, you have a lot more athletes to play with. So he will take some like lower end scores on top of like his, power output and lifting event that they'll do.
Yeah, well, snatch event.
Yep.
That's all it was. Back squat event.
Yep.
That's all it was. I mean, if you couldn't do the handstand push-ups, okay, that's not all it was. But if everybody else can do the handstand push-ups as good as he can, they still can't back squat like he can unless you're Jeff Adler.
Right.
But nobody is.
Right.
And then a sprint duel event, which he's won before.
Yep.
And the sandbag one actually didn't do as well as that one, but that required a bit more endurance and stamina. I think this is why I think Guy makes John so mad, is because he has, and we've said this before, we said this after Wadapalooza, I think a year or two ago, Guy can do things nobody else can do.
Yep.
Nobody. And if he would just focus his attention and efforts in a different area where his biggest holes are, like you tell me you're training for a marathon and you still got last on the running workout. If he would do what Jeff Adler did. You and I had this conversation with Adler in 2020 when he took 5th at the ranch.
Yep.
And we sat him and Caroline down and we're like, basically it was like, stop lifting.
Yeah.
Have more confidence in yourself and just go hard into those avenues where you are getting last. And to their credit, that is what they have done. And they have created the fittest man on earth because of it. And they did it in 3 to 5 years. I would say, and they've said this on an earlier timeline than they even anticipated.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff Adler was phenomenal this weekend.
Right. Unreal.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Unreal. Yeah.
Right? I think why Guy can be so frustrating at times is like, you see this potential in there. You have skills that nobody else does in 2 arenas. 1, lifting. You are untouchable in Olympic lifting. You have very good gymnastics. But from my observation as an analyst, you don't like to hurt. And you don't like to go hard, long. And if you just do those, you could be a top. I think Guy could be a top 5 guy with his current skill set. If he just Adlered his focus, maybe he just needs to work with Caroline.
I think that there is a headspace thing. I mean, he may have, dude, we've been around sports a long time. There are a lot of people that have all of the time, like DNA wise, they are designed to be top 5 in whatever the sport is that they do, but they don't have the headspace to own that position.
Yeah.
They just like you said, they don't want to hurt. They don't want to do things that make them feel like they can't do. They just have a really, really, really hard time with that. So I haven't seen enough mental toughness to have that, dude.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it's there. I don't think that's there. Thomas.
I honestly don't know if he wants it. I don't know if he wants that.
I don't think so either. That's what I
He's
think.
having more fun just doing what he's doing.
Yep. And everybody loves him for it, and that's fine. I think sometimes we think everybody wants to be the fittest man on earth. And that's not necessarily the case. So maybe it's an unfair thing to put on him. Thomas, but noted in Iron Man, he did just as bad. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, he was broken. Like,
In an
give me a break,
Iron
dude.
And
I think
long distance running. Sorry, I'm going to bring this up again. Sorry, Thomas. You chatted. I'll bring it up. Long distance running is different than the first event. No, it's not. Look who won the first event. Tia. And then who got second? Gabby. And then who got third? Emily Rolfe. It's not different. The best runners won that event.
There was a 4K.
Noah is not the best distance runner. Just because you did an Ironman,
Yeah.
does not mean you're great at long distance running. It just means you're willing to do it.
Right. I was gonna say, Guy is in the realm. I feel
I think you're right.
of those CrossFit athletes that are their brand is just to be in the space.
It's Danny Spiegel.
Danny Spiegel, totally. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right. Maybe it's unfair to put that on him. Just keep
I
doing
mean,
what you're doing. It's working out for you, dude. You're
Do
fun
your
to
thing, man.
watch.
You're killing it.
You're a fan favorite. You're fun to watch.
When he wins an event, it's like, damn, dude. Wow.
When he takes his shirt off, I'm like, damn, dude. Like, what is that? Okay. Another one. This may be one of those projected things too. How much should we look into Haley Adams' performance this weekend? So Haley took, let's see, where'd she get? 16th.
Yeah.
She started the weekend off with a 5th and 6th, and I think that had her inside the top 5 after the first 2 events. And then, let me pull this up. Ended up 16th to 19th place. So 19th place finish in event 3 was the back squat. Mm-hmm. Snatch workout, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
The next event was the back squat workout, to be expected. The next event, I think, was the dumbbell snatch with the sear bell.
Yep.
And then the power output one. And then day 2. No, that's not right. The 15th one, is that the row one? I should read up here. Event 5. That might have been the row one with the bar. I think she
yeah.
She had a lot of trouble with the bar, the thick bar. Then the sprint. This is the sear bell one, rope climbs, 16th. Pegboard in 15. No, sorry. Gosh darn it. Where am I getting all this from?
The pegboard was
That's in here. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Pegboard, double under handstand walk. That's probably the more surprising one.
Yeah.
And then she goes out and gets 7th on the sandbag workout.
I don't know how the hell that happened. I don't know what was going on. I'm like, how is she in front right now?
Yeah.
Seriously? Made no sense. I mean, and granted, it's not a squat. I mean, she's got great hips. She's got, really good positioning and when she is pulling from the ground. But I think Haley's really interesting because I still honestly believe that there is a lot of self-discovery that's happening. Like, how do you go from mayhem?
That's
you
why I'm
pull
asking,
out, you
right?
go to the Marios, you hang out with those guys, you come back, you're loving life, you leave those guys for still no one really seems to know why. That your friends or whatever the reasons were that came out. You go back to mayhem, and I mean, honestly, from what I saw at Rogue, I don't think that she looked really ready to compete. Obviously, it's out of the season.
Right.
She didn't look in competition form. She looked like she was more doing the event rather than trying to race the event. Well, it's going to be heavy. I'll just kind of do whatever I can do. And I almost kind of leaning on that statement.
Yeah.
Rather than, all right, I'm here to have some fun and mix it the fuck up.
Yeah, true.
I didn't see any, dude. There was no killer instinct at all.
I think when you look at the programming too, and this is why my answer to this is how much should we look into it? I was like, not much.
Yeah, because it's heavy. We know that.
Right. Okay. So look at event 1. So she got 5th in event 1. No surprise there.
Right.
She's a great runner. And even with some loading, she handles that. Event 2, where she got 19th, it was a squat snatch workout at 225 and 160.
Yep.
That was the event. Event 3, heavy back squat, 19th place. That was the event. Also not last. Event 4, log muscle up. I think it was at 16th in that one or 15th. Event 5, the sear bell. 100 pounds and 70 pounds in one arm with that thing is not easy to do. Right. Regardless of what they made it look like. Then the sprint power one, the fact that she almost made the top 10, I think is impressive.
Yeah.
And then on event 7, it was the pegboard.
Dude, and she got murdered on that first one.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened in event 8. And then in event 9, she comes out of the event 9 finish is the most surprising one of the entire weekend, both positive or negative. 100%. She comes out with a 7th place one in the sandbag event. That's awesome.
Everything that she did bad in, I think we expected. Now, I think the gondola one, just with the pet, I didn't realize that she would struggle that much with that. Mm-hmm. So you take that out, everything else was kind of as expected. Yeah, except for that last one.
Right. None of these I'm like, so the ones where I thought she would have done better in is event 8 and event 7.
Yeah.
Those two surprised me. Event 5, I'd say mid-pack. She's very good at rope climbs, but the dumbbell was the whole thing.
Totally.
Event 4, heavy thrusters and log bar muscle-ups. I didn't think that was going to be a big win for her. Maybe a top 10, but it wasn't.
I mean, 60?
Right.
60 reps of those
60 heavy thrusters?
God.
Yes. Now, event 3, the back squat. Event 2, I was like, yeah, we're probably getting last on these.
Yeah.
So there's no real surprise. I think it's more of indicative to everything you're saying. I think she came, like, what a great test for Haley with her skill set to come here and just give her pretty much everything that is going to give her fits, or find out what other things will give her fits. Pegboard, lateral.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe it was the heavy. I don't know what it was. Whether it's the lunges, the heavy rope, or whatever. That's going to fatigue her because she's fantastic on her hands.
Yeah.
Fantastic on her hands. Hey, guess what? You're great at sandbag cleans. Check. And now we got to work on, I don't know, not that you have to work on thick bar muscle ups, but
well, it really is it's a win-win situation, because guess what? The best of the best are coming, and this is going to be, I mean, I really bummed that Gabby got knocked out, but this is basically in the women, it was going to be Tia, Laura, Gabby, those three battling.
Yep.
This is not, and no one would have ever thought that, like, oh man, Haley's going to be on the podium at Rogue with all the heavy shit. It would never, I don't think that would ever come in to the conversation. She doesn't have, I mean, she's flown out there. She's treated out there. It's early in the season. It's a win-win situation for her to go. Whether she gets kind of her ass hit or not, it doesn't matter. Lets her see where she is. Lets her see where the best of the world also is, especially in the elements where she's not going to be as strong. Mm-hmm. So, like, to think that, like, she just got crushed this weekend, I wouldn't even, man, there's so much good data there. So much good data for her.
I think yeah. Vicky said the same thing. Despite bad finishes, her composure as an athlete was great to see. Yes. I think you're right. I don't think we should look into it in terms of, oh, what's wrong with Haley?
No.
Like, Haley put herself in, to her credit, looking at the programming going in, is like, you have put yourself in a position to not succeed, right?
To go and get your ass kicked.
Go get your ass kicked, and maybe that's the best thing for you. He's like, look, you got wrecked at Rogue, and now it doesn't bother you, or the fear of that in competition maybe gets shed because you've allowed yourself in the be at position, realize the world did not end.
Yep.
And so the next time you get to a different competition that maybe has a more balanced programming of a lot of mixed modals and mixed weights and different skill sets and gymnastics and endurance, you will fare better. And if you have a bad finish because of that one weightlifting event that's going to stop you in your tracks in one versus another, you can handle that now.
Oh yeah.
Instead of, I could only imagine, when she was maybe at her worst mentally, emotionally, or whatever it was, standing there on the first bar in 2021 of the round bar clean ladder, what that felt like in front of a crowd.
Right.
So yeah, maybe this is the best thing for her
I agree.
that she could have done. All right, 2 more. Should more events consider moving to Europe or overseas? So for an example, we've got Wadapalooza Miami. And they're like, Wadapalooza SoCal. Or should that be Wadapalooza, pick a European country?
Madrid.
Wadapalooza, I know who keeps saying that, but like Wadapalooza, something else. Because it's a team format. It's a invitational-esque, not Rogue Invitational, but the old CrossFit Invitational because it's super teams.
Yeah.
You're having US versus the world. Are you going to get more people to come to that event in the US when the US is already a bit oversaturated and spoiled with big name competitions? Or you take Wadapalooza, Spain, España, and then you have all these people showing up for the world to destroy North America. What do you think is going to happen more? More people that... Here's the thing with SoCal. I love the event. I love the format. I think that we did this show. The bar potential there is high. If you want to run a community event with Wadapalooza tied to it, do you think you're going to get more people to sign up for your gauntlet in Huntington Beach or in France or in Germany or in Berlin or in Denmark or in Sweden? Or like, are you going to get more people to sign up for that? Your community event, which is the way you make money, and a crowd to come and watch Team World and maybe expand the field to 4 teams and it's Team Europe or whatever. You're going to get more of those athletes that you didn't get on Team World now there because they don't have to travel as far a month and a half after they just traveled for the CrossFit Games. I know that was a very long example.
Well, what I will say is this. I think that the only competition that applies to is Wadapalooza.
Okay.
I do like the idea of, especially if it's North America versus the world or world versus North America, however it's quoted, that it should definitely by far bounce around without a doubt. I don't think that the crowd was as expected in Huntington Beach, and granted, there was a lot of things that was happening in the
It was
space, so I understand that, but I think that as we have seen, something like that would do well in Europe, because it's seen as an American or a North American thing that is now over there as well and moving around, so that those people now can come and see it. The problem is that I don't think any other events can do that. I think that events will try to do that, but the other ones that are out there, like Dubai is going to be in Dubai.
Right.
The Norwegian throwdown is going to be there. The German throwdown is going to be there. The Syndicate Crown is going to be where the Syndicate is. Like, I don't see any other big competition moving to Europe. The only thing I see is and I'm not even talking about the Tier Wadapalooza, the actual one. I'm talking about the Tier Cup. I can see the Tier Cup bouncing around, being that one that moves. I can see the games could move. I think that would be something that we're going to see. And then Rogue doing Rogue singing, bouncing around. That's really all I see bouncing around. But yes, those are 3 gargantuan events, and I think that they all would do really well being mobile.
I think the Tier Cup would be insane in Europe.
It would be way.
Yeah.
It would gather a lot of steam, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was this? Kenneth DeLapp. As a casual American viewer, I'm not waking up to early watch live.
Of course, dude, I get it. But we've all done that, though. They have all had to wake up early to watch ours.
Or stay up late. But like, here's the thing. It doesn't matter who necessarily, like, they are not making any money on the live stream worth the money they can make by having a bigger in-person presence and registration. The viewership is borderline irrelevant on how many people are watching live, because they're still going to watch I think there was what,
I mean, dude,
260,000 people watching.
I watched all of the Rogue Invitational.
I did too.
All of it, and I didn't see any of it live.
Rogue, let's see. Anytime I watch it, floated between, I want to say the most I saw at once was maybe 30 to 35. Someone is saying there might have been 100 for the final event. But let me see if I can pull this up. Rogue views. Full live stream on Sunday. 313,000 views. The most I saw at one time was maybe 30.
Crazy.
Full Friday, 632,000 views. Full Saturday, 563,000 views. So the views will come, even if you don't watch it live. The U.S. will wake up and go watch it, just like you and I did.
Totally.
And it's kind of nice to watch through with a little fast forward. Because I had to do that for several heats of rowing and single wood log bar muscle ups. I was like, all right, let's just get to the last 100 meters of this 1,000-meter row. Okay. So Tier Cup to Europe.
Yep.
Yes. Highly recommend. Also because I want to go. Okay, last one. Oh, sorry, before we get to that. We are analyzing the program. There are 241,000. Sorry, it's 241.
Could you imagine that? Dang!
Maybe one day we'll get there. 241 people watching, guys. Thanks. Please hit that subscribe button. That'd be awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Wednesday, we'll be analyzing the programming. I believe John Young will be on that show.
Oh, nice.
At least he had hinted at it, potentially. And then Friday, we'll be reprogramming all the things we talked about on Wednesday for a Friday show. So you guys got a full week of Rogue. So, Bill, final question. What was your favorite moment or event of the weekend at the Rogue Invitational?
Man, that's a good question.
I got mine, but it's like
mine's kind of.
I might have to have two because this one's kind of a. It's not a cheap shot, but it's an easy one.
It's an easy one. I'll say this. What I was most shocked by.
Oh.
Because a lot of the moments it was like, oh, cool, watching so and so do this, and oh, that person did well there, and like Haley doing the sandbags. I was like, wow, that's shocking. I wasn't surprised, or watching people just getting buried on the there were a lot of weird things like that. But the thing that caught my eye the most, and maybe this is verges on political, was the flip-flop that I felt last Rogue to this Rogue.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Between Tia and Laura.
Okay.
I wanted Laura to absolutely annihilate Tia last year. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Screw her for coming back and acting like, it'll be totally fine. And her still doing all the things that she like. It's hard for me to watch someone that is so dominant that no one can even remotely touch their shoes like that. There's an irritation of that to me. And I really liked Laura a lot. I mean, we watched her through her whole career. She was like the darling of CrossFit.
I remember watching her in Dubai for the first time. Like,
right.
Who is this girl?
Right.
This is she's going to be a serious competitor.
And she was always super cool. I mean, I've seen her like the Swiss throwdown, and I've been able to talk to her a lot, and I really liked her a lot last year. After all the things that happened this year at the games, the stuff between her and Gabby, the stuff between like Christoph and Gabby, and again, like that's the political part of all the stuff that went down with Lazar. I am blown away at how she was acting this year, to the point where I wanted Tia to just mash her face in. Like I'm serious. Like I was watching that the whole time. I've never, ever, ever remotely wanted Laura to lose. And I wanted Laura to lose bad.
Interesting.
Just watching the way she acted, like, like a cold dude, cold. I went from seeing someone that was such a breath of fresh air in the sport to someone that just was ice cold. And that was the part overall the events and all, like I'm watching that and I was just shocked at that at watching it and how much I flip-flopped from last year to this year. It was it blew my shoes off, dude. It was crazy.
I remember was it John talking about the games is that he's back on Team Tia only because he wants her to win so much so bad that everybody else jumps on the train that he's been on for years of that he wants her to retire.
I was so impressed with Tia and she just that was
Tia is
the champ that I wanted to see, I guess, what I expected to see, or it was exciting to see. I don't know. I'm not really. It's hard to say.
Is this the best Tia?
Yes.
Already?
Yeah, dude. Because like she just doesn't even need to care. She smashes people like, huh? All right, cool.
I think you're right. Although it was interesting to see the 4-event swing.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. It's like Tia went 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Laura comes back and goes 1, 2, 3, 4.
I know, huh?
I was like, okay. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that more so as like, all right, as soon as Laura, because I guess the record at Rogue is 4 consecutive event wins, which was Laura in 2022. Because Tia was pregnant and was not competing at Rogue.
Right.
And then Tia came back 5 months postpartum, which I thought Kiki's question to her was like, hey, what's the biggest difference between
dude, that was hysterical.
Like, the fact that it wasn't 5 months postpartum, I was like, that was such a great answer.
I'm like, God, Kiki, come on now.
But watching Tia go 4 for 4, I was like, make it 5. Come on. And then as soon as Laura got the 1, I was like, all right, well. And then she got 2. I was like, well. I was like, all right, let's see what you can do. And she got 4 again.
And dude, and it was when she did it was with attitude. Like every single interview that she gave.
Yeah.
It was almost like, Danielle Brandon, at the games flipping the crowd off.
Oh yeah.
That was Laura flipping everybody off right there. It was like, fuck you guys.
Hey, I don't mind some of that. So, you need a level of that. Plus, I think that, that's just part of Laura.
And that's all good. I'm just saying that like that was the flip flop. That was for me.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember last year. I was like, last year was the most nerve-wracking final I've ever watched in my life.
100%.
But yeah, so we went 4 and then went back to Laura for 4 and then that rubber match at the end. I thought Laura would have fared better on the sandbags. I mean, she didn't do bad. She got 4th, but to see Tia beat like Danny, I was like, oh, in a sandbag event. That was kind of one of mine. One of my favorite ones was no one having any idea that Jess Medeiros won event 8.
Oh man, I know. I felt so bad for him. I'm like, how did
I was like,
and as a commentator, dude, we know we've had that happen, and it's like.
But here's the thing:
shit.
No one knew. Apparently, the floor announcers didn't even know. Justin said in his post interview, it was really great because nobody was saying my name. They were saying everybody else's name. So I just got to listen to where everybody else was and then focus on what I was supposed to do. It was great to nobody knew except maybe just the people that were there to watch Justin. But watching that take place, I was like, all right, because that's happened to me. That happened to me at the Masters games where we totally forgot where Sean Ramirez was for.
Oh yeah. Like,
is he done? Like I thought he was hurt because we're like halfway through the event, and he's just like talking to people. I'm like, what is he doing? He's like, he's been done for 4 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay.
He doesn't count anyway. It's fine.
Well, that's funny. And then one. This is Brent Fikowski's last competition. We'll see because like everybody's retiring like Brett Favre. It's like, yeah, this is my last one, but I'm going to do this one and this team on this one. I was like, that's not retiring.
Right. No, totally.
Take second.
Yeah.
I have always like Brent Fikowski, the competitor, for me was the person that I have been following since I first saw him on the leaderboard in the open whenever he started, maybe like 2015.
Yeah.
Because at the time, we were pretty similar. Brent's about 6'2", 6'3". I'm 6'2". He weighed about the same as me then, definitely not now. But he was so meticulous in the way he dissected events, just like I had to do to make up for where I lacked and where he lacked at the time.
Yeah.
He was like, and he would post his videos and then to watch what happened to at regionals and then finally get to the games and blowing the doors off the games with 4 events in his rookie year, barely missing out on the podium by a second and losing points, getting third, getting second, tie break for third, getting fourth. Like his whole career, I've just enjoyed watching.
I agree.
I like Brent, the competitor, has been one of my favorite athletes to watch. And I've always cheered for him, to watch him and to see how he's do things. It's just fun for me to watch. And so to see him do that at Rogue as his last one, I thought that was pretty cool to go out like that.
Yeah.
I'm sad that I won't get to see that anymore.
You know what? I know that he said this will be the last one, and it was said, Sean and Adrian said it a bunch of times, but like I just don't feel that it is. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
it would be really hard to finish. Like, I'm sure if it was like, because Pat didn't have the best weekend. I heard he was just under the weather or just not hitting on all cylinders. I think we would have thought that was going to be the weekend that Pat had, just because of his success he's had at off-season competitions. Like, you would have thought those place finishes would flip.
Yeah.
Like, what was Pat, 9th, 11th?
Something like that, yeah.
You see that? Switch divisions. But Brent got second handedly, 35 points out of first. 35, that's it. Vellner got 9th. I think if that happened, then it was like, yep, last one, high five.
Totally. I'm here. Yeah,
Brent
totally.
Second?
That's what I mean. Like, it was he did really, really well.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that one. That
I
is
enjoyed
a great thing for the event. As far as like one of the top things, I just over the whole weekend, I was watching him perform, and I just didn't. At no time was I like, yep, this is the last one.
No, I was like, dude, you look so good.
Yeah.
And you were having so much fun. Maybe because the pressure's off.
Maybe.
But
I do think that happens. That happens with a lot of athletes. The second they say that they're done, so it's like whatever happens. It's like, oh shit, I guess I got to do another one now.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is like he's going to back off the volume. He's still going to be fit as hell.
Yeah,
and then he's going to feel great, and he'll start doing like it happened to Scott. I think Scott was one of the fittest he'd ever been when he retired, and then he just came back, and then he got derailed by a rope.
Yeah,
which was too bad.
Caroline, I don't think that the shit talking thing. I think it wasn't the fact that she was talking tough about herself. I felt like it was directed at. Honestly, I felt like it was directed at Gabby the whole time. I didn't think she was out there chasing Tia. I mean, I know she was trying to beat Tia and all that, but like, I've just felt like every comment she was making was at Gabby until she got up towards the end and Gabby was knocked out. Then it was like, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. But like, I mean, not to say that she didn't look good. I mean, she looked fantastic, but I'm just talking more about the attitude, I guess. It was more interesting to me to see that. I mean, it was a flip flop from what I've seen in the past. Yeah. And maybe it was just me, a flip flop in my eyes.
Well, that's why this was your thing.
Laura Tia, Yeah. So,
although I do like people being themselves versus fake clapping for other people.
No, totally.
I fully agree with that.
I agree.
All right.
That was good.
That was great.
Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. We had like 250 guys at
so
one
much.
point.
Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
Shout out to my uncle.
There you go.
Shout out to my uncle. Flew F-14s in the Iraqi war.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Like Top Gun shit.
First
First time you told me that, I was like, I think Top Gun was on. I was like, young. He's like, I flew those. I'm like, what? You're Maverick? You're Maverick? But congrats to the athletes. Hell of a show. Congrats to Rogue, Bill, Katie. Just, the coverage was great and abundant and fun to watch from the side. I wish Heinrich Habalainen.
Oh, yeah. God, I hope you guys heal up good.
Gabby Magawa, I'm so sorry what happened there. That was so sad.
Yeah.
It's something you never want to see to anybody. But hope you guys take care of that. Heal up well. Back in action when you guys can be action. Take your time. Make sure you recover. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you guys for showing up. If you haven't hit the like, subscribe button, please do. It goes a huge way for us to do what we do even more. And all this is a click for you when we get done. We'll be back on Wednesday, same time. Broadcast is pretty good. 12:30 p.m. Central, where we will be analyzing the programming of the Rogue Invitational. And maybe 2 days after, I'll get another hate text from Josh Bridges, like I do every day after we do that show. Thank you guys for joining us. Happy Veterans Day. We'll see you on Wednesday.